The clip follows the review. Thirsting for justice, she settled for blood. Mysterious, dark, and seductive, Vampirella Talisa Soto is a princess hailing from the planet Draculon. Like all her kind, she survives on blood but refuses to take innocent lives, opting instead for a synthetic substitute to sustain her. After traveling through space and time in search of revenge for her father's murder, she arrives on Earth, specifically Las Vegas, where her nemesis, Vlad Roger Daltrey, is posing as a rock star. To thwart Vlad's sinister plan for world domination, Vampirella must form an uneasy alliance with a team of high-tech vampire hunters. The fate of humanity rests in the hands of this fierce, dangerous, and beautiful warrior. Stay with me now, this story needs a proper setup. Let's travel back to the 1960s when Warren Publishing produced a variety of black and white horror comics, such as Creepy and Eerie. By 1959, they introduced a third horror anthology with a unique twist, stories narrated by a sultry vampire in an outlandishly revealing outfit. Whether or not Forrest J. Ackerman was her creator is up for debate, but he certainly gave her the name Vampirella after watching Vampirella. Within a year, she went from being a hostess to starring in her own comic book stories. Jump ahead to 1996, and for some reason, we now have a Vampirella movie. Oh, and Roger Corman's attached to it. Cue the record scratch. Honestly, that's where it starts to unravel. For a movie made in the 90s, Vampirella looks more like a throwback to one of those tragically bad TV pilots from the 70s. But since I've committed to this review, I'll attempt to summarize the plot. Okay, so 3,000 years ago, on the planet Draculon, yes, that's what it's called, please hold your interruptions, there was a society of humanoids that lived by drinking blood, which wait for it flows freely in their rivers. I know it makes no sense, just roll with it. Predictably, there's a villain among them, the one guy who wants to be the evil overlord, and his name is Vlad, played by none other than Roger Daltrey from The Who. Yes, really. Vlad and his crew manage to massacre the Draculon High Council during a jailbreak and escape so absurd it's hard to describe, and then flee to Earth in a spaceship. Enter our protagonist, Ella Talisa Soto, the daughter of the High Council's leader, who vows to avenge her father. She chases after Vlad, only to end up in stasis on Mars until a human space expedition stumbles upon her and brings her back to Earth. Once on Earth, Ella saves a geeky character named Forrest Ackerman, yes, another nod to the original creator who conveniently names her Vampirella. Thankfully, Ackerman vanishes from the plot soon after. Meanwhile, Vlad is living the high life as a rock star named Jamie Blood and plotting world domination through a convoluted scheme involving satellites, costumes, characters, and chaos. Right off the bat, the movie's costuming choices are questionable, to say the least. The planet Draculon features a bizarre mishmash of fashion. Vlad sports a pirate shirt with a leather vest, while one elder is dressed in a toga that looks like it's made of cheap curtains, and another elder appears in Merlin-esque robes. Vlad's minions? They look like they're auditioning for an 80s hair metal band. Then we get to Vampirella's infamous outfit. While the filmmakers tried to recreate her comic book look, they ended up with a vinyl disaster that barely resembles the original costume. And once she lands on Earth, she doesn't change outfits, opting to wear only an overcoat for the rest of the movie. What's even more confusing is that there are production photos where Soto wears a much more accurate version of the iconic costume, so why they didn't use that is anyone's guess. Plot holes and oddities. Vampirella's arrival on Earth kicks off with her rescuing a nerd carrying an outdated 90s computer who somehow deduces she's a vampire and coins her new name. Meanwhile, Vlad's minions have integrated themselves into society, with one working as a school teacher. Vampirella shows no mercy in her quest for revenge, killing him without a second thought, despite his seemingly normal life. There's no indication if he's been harming humans, and the film never bothers to clarify. Enter Adam Van Helsing, the leader of an elite vampire hunting group known as Purge. He captures Vampirella during her first attempt to kill Vlad, and for some reason, his goons are on the verge of assaulting her during transport. Naturally, Van Helsing and Vampirella develop romantic feelings later because why not? Vlad's evil plan involves some kind of Draculon tech and invisible satellites poised to trigger a nuclear winter, plunging Earth into eternal darkness so vampires can rule the world. There's also a subplot involving a high-tech sun gun that gets a lot of build-up but is used only once in a comedic moment. In a movie where you'd expect a lot of risk content, the nudity is minimal and not particularly memorable. The acting is flat, the fight scenes are uninspired, and while Talisa Soto certainly looks the part, her ridiculous outfit makes it hard to take her seriously. In conclusion, Vampirella is a strange mishmash of a vampire revenge tale, sci-fi flick, and cop drama, none of which come together in a satisfying way. It doesn't quite descend into the realm of so bad it's good, but there's not much here to recommend either. Roll the clip.
In a galaxy far away,
always among us, there are wicked aberrations.
in a world of perfect harmony,
Not content with the plenty our civilization provides, you turn on your brother.
a cold-blooded killer will put an end to it all and shatter a young woman's life forever.
I know that you don't approve, but this journey is something that I have to do.
Now she's traveling across time to a new world and a murderer over 300,000 years old. Talisa Soto,
Truly are one of us.
Roger Daltrey,
Guess again.
Vampirella,